Your intelligence is not a gift. It is a predetermined coordinate on a map you never asked for. Society has lied to you. We are conditioned to believe that smarter always equals better. We assume that if we could just access more brain power, we would instantly unlock wealth, happiness, and dominance. But that assumption is a dangerous trap. History's most tortured souls were not the ones who knew too little. They were the ones who saw too much. There is a specific mathematical threshold where high intelligence stops being an advantage and mutates into a social disability. Most people go through life blind to this hierarchy. They look up at the geniuses with envy, unaware that those geniuses are often looking back at the bliss of the average mind with desperation. We have mapped this cognitive spectrum into 9 absolute levels. This ranges from the very low bracket, the struggling few, to the average majority that holds the fabric of reality together, climbing all the way to the profound genius. This final level isn't a badge of honor. It is often a sentence of isolation. You exist on this scale right now. You are operating within the constraints of your level, likely failing to see the invisible walls that are holding you back from true success because you are trying to play a game you do not understand. In this video, we are not just listing numbers. We are dissecting the psychology of your potential. By the end of this breakdown, you will know exactly which level you occupy. More importantly, you will understand why you struggle to relate to certain people and why being smart has actually failed you in the past. We will show you how to stop envying minds you do not understand and start mastering the one you have. This is the reality of the 9 levels of intelligence. But before we peel back the layers of your mind, a simple question. Are you here to be entertained, or are you here to be reconstructed? The world is full of people who are content with not knowing who they are. They sleepwalk through life. If you are different, if you demand the brutal truth about human nature and your own potential, then you belong here. Do not just watch. Commit. Click the subscribe button and turn on notifications. Join the minority that refuses to be fragile. Welcome to Supreme Mindset. Now, let us begin the ascent. We start at the bottom of the pyramid. This is the range below 70. In clinical terms, this was historically referred to as mild mental retardation, though today we speak of it as a cognitive disability. But let's strip away the medical terms and look at the reality. For a person in this bracket, the world is a terrifyingly complex place. Abstract concepts do not exist. There is no future planning, no strategic thinking, and no hypothetical scenarios. There is only now. The most chilling statistic about this level comes from the United States military. By law, the military cannot induct anyone with an IQ below 83. Think about what that means. In a desperate situation, where bodies are needed for war, the government has determined that a person in this range is not just unhelpful, but a danger to themselves and their unit. They cannot be trained to master modern tasks. If you are watching this video and understanding these sentences, you are already miles above this abyss. This level is defined by one word: dependence. They require guardianship. They are the tragic souls who can never truly be free, because their mind cannot forge the key to their own cave. Step up one level, and we enter the below average range. This is 70 to 89. This is the danger zone of modern society. Why? Because these individuals look and act just like everyone else. They are not disabled, but they are perpetually struggling. They can hold jobs, usually involving repetitive, manual labor. They can follow direct orders. But the moment the environment changes, the moment they have to improvise or solve a complex problem without a manual, they hit an invisible wall. This is where the hurt comes in. If you have ever felt that the modern world is moving too fast for you, or that technology and finances are intentionally confusing, you are feeling the pressure that people in this bracket feel. Every single day, they are the primary victims of predatory loans, political manipulation, and scams. They lack the cognitive shield to spot the lie. They are the useful workers of the global economy, smart enough to pull the lever, but not smart enough to ask why the machine exists. And now, we arrive at the most important number on the scale, the average. 90 to 109. If you are watching this, statistically, this is likely where you sit, and you might feel insulted by the word average. You shouldn't be. This group comprises 50% of the entire human population. This is the general authoritative tone we speak of, the practical intelligence. You are the police officers, the sales managers, the tradesmen, the nurses, and the teachers. You possess the ability to learn, to adapt, and to maintain society. But here is the catch, and this is the painful truth for the average mind. You are smart enough to understand how the world works, but often not powerful enough to change it. You are the ones who keep civilization running for the geniuses to play in. The average mind is capable of happiness and stability, but it is constantly plagued by the feeling that there is something more just out of reach. You are the backbone of reality, but being the backbone means you carry the weight. Now, we leave the crowded streets of the average and begin the ascent. We enter the territory of the above average, specifically the 110 to 119 range. If the average man is the engine, the above average man is the mechanic who fixes it. You likely know this person. In school, they were the smart kid who didn't have to study hard to get B's and A's. In the workplace, they are the managers, the senior accountants, and the confident decision makers. But here is the trap of level 4, and it is a painful one: arrogance. People in this bracket are smart enough to dominate the average majority. Because they spend their lives surrounded by people with IQs of 90 or 100, they often trick themselves into believing they are geniuses. They are not. This is the range where the Dunning-Kruger effect hits the hardest. They have enough intelligence to argue, but often lack the depth to understand what they don't know. If you are in this range, your life is generally comfortable. You fit into universities perfectly. You fit into corporate hierarchies perfectly. You are efficient, but you are not yet a visionary. Climbing higher, the air gets thinner. We reach the high intelligence bracket, 120 to 129. Now we are looking at the top 10% of the population. This is the success zone. Statistically, this IQ range produces the highest accumulation of personal wealth. Why? Because these are your doctors, your attorneys, your high-level engineers and CEOs. They possess a rare combination. They have the raw processing power to solve complex problems, but they still possess enough social relatability to lead teams. They can communicate their ideas to the masses. They are the architects of the modern world. But the burden here is expectation. If you possess this mind, you likely suffer from chronic stress. You see the inefficiencies in everything: your government, your company, your family dynamic. You have the power to fix it, but you are constantly frustrated by those who cannot move at your speed. You are a race car stuck in rush hour traffic. You aren't lonely yet, but you are certainly impatient. Across the line of 130, and everything changes. This is very high intelligence. This is the entry requirement for Mensa. We are now dealing with the top 2% of humanity. At this level, the climb stops being about success and starts being about survival. If you are in this bracket, you face a unique psychological problem: the communication gap. To you, patterns are obvious, solutions are instant. But when you try to explain them to an average person, level 3, or even a high person, level 5, they look at you like you are speaking a foreign language. This is where the climber starts to feel alone. You have to constantly dumb down your thoughts just to have a normal conversation at a dinner party. It is exhausting. You are operating on a frequency that 98% of the world cannot tune into. You aren't just smarter, you are structurally different. And as we are about to see, as we move into the final tier, that difference stops being a gift and starts looking a lot like a curse. We now enter the stratosphere. This is the gifted range, 145 to 159. Less than 0.1% of the human population lives here. If you are in this bracket, the conventional education system likely failed you. Not because it was too hard, but because it was agonizingly slow. These are the minds of elite professors, grandmaster chess players, and theoretical physicists. At this level, the brain is a high-performance engine that requires constant, high-octane fuel. If a gifted person is not constantly challenged, they do not just get bored, they get depressed. This is where the curse truly begins to take shape. People in this range often struggle to find a partner. Why? Because a conversation with a level 3 average person feels like speaking to a child. To find a true equal, a soulmate who can match their processing speed, they have to search through thousands of people. The air is thin up here. You have a view of the world that is crystal clear, but you are often watching it alone. Climb further. The oxygen is almost gone. We are at 160 to 179. The label is no longer gifted. It is genius. These are the names you know: Einstein, Hawking, Musk. These are not people who learn the rules. These are the people who rewrite them. At this level, the mind is capable of immense feats of abstraction. They can visualize entire systems, simulate complex futures, and connect dots that others didn't even know existed. But the price they pay is a complete disconnection from the present moment. A genius is rarely happy in the traditional sense. Their mind is a prison of constant analysis. They often lack basic life skills. You might find a level 8 genius who can calculate the trajectory of a rocket, but forgets to eat for 2 days, or cannot manage a simple grocery run. Society tolerates their eccentricities only because their output is so valuable. They are revered, yes, but they are rarely understood. They are the engines of human evolution, burning themselves out to push the species forward. And finally, we reach the ceiling, the theoretical limit of the human mind. 180 and above. This is the profound genius. This is Leonardo da Vinci. This is William James Sidis. At this stage, intelligence becomes almost alien. These individuals can master a new language in a week. They can read a book in an hour and retain 100% of the information. But listen closely. You do not want to be here. History shows us that level 9 is often a tragedy. The isolation is absolute. There is no one to talk to. The gap between a profound genius and an average person is the same as the gap between a human and a chimpanzee. Imagine living in a world where everyone around you seems to be moving in slow motion, unable to grasp even the simplest concepts you see clearly. Many in this bracket retreat from society completely. They burn out young or choose silence. They see the flaws in everything, in humanity, in logic, in existence itself. It is the ultimate irony. The smartest humans who have ever lived often die the loneliest. They possess the mind of a god, trapped in the life of a mortal. So, where does that leave you? You might be sitting there, calculating your number. Maybe you are frustrated because you feel stuck in the average. Maybe you are relieved because you finally understand why you feel so isolated in the high brackets. But here is the final truth, and it is the only thing that matters. Your IQ is just a number. Your mindset is a choice. A high IQ is like a Ferrari engine. It is powerful, yes. But if you put a Ferrari engine in a car with no steering wheel and no brakes, it doesn't win the race. It crashes. We have seen countless geniuses rot in basements because they lacked discipline. And we have seen men of average intelligence build empires because they possess something rare: grit, focus, and stoicism. Intelligence is merely potential. Wisdom is the execution of that potential. You cannot change your raw IQ. That is the hand you were dealt. But you can choose how you play the cards. If you are average, do not despair. Outwork them. If you are high, do not get arrogant. Stay humble. If you are a genius, do not isolate yourself. Connect. The goal of this channel is not to make you smarter than everyone else. It is to make you stronger than your own excuses. I want you to look at the scale one last time. Be honest with yourself. Comment below, which level do you think you truly sit in, and do you believe high intelligence is a gift or a curse? I will be reading the comments to see who truly understands the lesson. If this breakdown gave you a new perspective on your own mind, hit the like button. It helps this message reach the people who need to hear it. And if you are ready to stop measuring your mind and start mastering it, subscribe to Supreme Mindset and turn on the notification bell. We do not just think, we ascend. I'll see you in the next video.